In today's video, I'm going to break down the charts and give you my overall thoughts on where I think crypto is going in the short term and the long term, and how I would be positioning myself right now to make as much money as possible. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off by looking at the Bitcoin chart, since Bitcoin is the market mover and the whole market likes to follow Bitcoin. Now we can see that we were actually trading within this triangle pattern here, and when we got pretty much to the apex of that triangle, we came to a decision point. Were we going to break up or were we going to break down? And we did in fact get that move down. And the question is now, have we bottomed or are we going lower? Well, I see two possible scenarios for Bitcoin. The first scenario is that we have in fact bottomed right here, and what we saw was actually a liquidation event and just a flush out of all of that liquidity before we can push higher. Now, the second scenario that I see us playing out, and this is going to be the more bearish scenario, is that we do see a bit more of a push down. And if we were to see that, I would actually be targeting this blue box here. Because when we have a look at our oscillators on the daily chart, we can see that we do still have more room to the downside. Our RSI is pretty much only neutral at the moment, and we could still see this come down into the oversold territory. The same with our momentum waves as well. So we definitely do have a lot more room for the upside, which is why I would be preparing myself in case we do, having some dry powder on the side, because if we do get that continued push down, I would be expecting a bounce from this level here. But as I said, we may have already bottomed. These are the two scenarios that I see playing out, that either we bottomed here and we get a bounce from here, or we come down a bit lower into my blue box and we get a bounce from here. But either way, the end result is us going up and putting in new highs. Now, another reason why we may come down lower is we actually have not a lot of volume being traded in this area here. So when we got a breakout, we got a big move up and we didn't come down to retest. So it's very possible that we may come down to retest the previous highs, and that can then give us enough momentum to make that bigger push to the upside. Because there's not a lot of volume that's being traded here, which means not a lot of support. But when we actually zoom out on Bitcoin, I want to remind all of you guys that we are still in an uptrend and we are still in a bull market. We are still holding this very key level of ascending support. And every time we've got down to that level, we've actually seen a bounce. So until we actually break this level here and fall below that, I consider us still in a bull market, and I would be looking for bounces off of that level. Now, where we are now, we definitely have room to come down, but that's not guaranteed. Now, if you're just getting into the market, would I be buying Bitcoin right now? Well, the answer is no, because Bitcoin is already so high. Like, where are we honestly expecting Bitcoin to top out at? 150, 200K? Well, we're trading at 116 right now. So if we were to see 150K Bitcoin, so that's only a 30% move. Even up to 200K, that's 70%. You're not even doubling your money. So would I recommend anyone buying Bitcoin right now? I recommended people buying Bitcoin down here. I recommended it down here, down here, down here. At the bottom of the bear market at 15K, I was screaming at people to buy. But did anyone listen back there? No. And now people are asking, now, should I buy Bitcoin? Well, my answer is no, because the risk isn't worth the reward. What's your upside? 70% if we get to 200K, and then see a bear market where prices fall 75, 80%. The risk versus reward of buying Bitcoin isn't there right now. And I'm not trying to be a bear, because I'm still extremely bullish on Bitcoin long term. I think Bitcoin hits $1 million one day. But I think there are better opportunities right now. And Bitcoin's overly extended. I think you're better off looking at other coins like Ethereum. And I'm going to show you why I think Ethereum is a way better buy than Bitcoin right now. So this chart here is the Ethereum BTC chart comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin. So essentially when this chart goes up, Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and when it goes down, Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum. Now we can see historically that we've pretty much come down to the bottom, right? And I believe that this was the low for the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. And now I've started a new uptrend where we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. And what I'm actually expecting to play out is something similar to this. I think that we're just in the beginning stages of this move here. I would say we're about here or here if we were looking at the last cycle. Now we may come down and correct a bit, but I think we're just going to be putting higher highs and higher lows. And I would expect Ethereum to reach these levels here, meaning that it's going to massively outperform Bitcoin. And this is why I'm a lot more bullish on Ethereum right now. And it's not just me, but it's also the institutions that are buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum. Trump's company, their number one holding is Ethereum, not Bitcoin. BlackRock just saw record levels of inflows through their ETF for Ethereum. Everyone is buying Ethereum right now because that's where the opportunity is. You're not going to get that return in Bitcoin. Let's go to the Ethereum chart and let's have a look at some of our fib levels, and this actually gives us potential price targets. So with a full extension, we would be looking at a $15,000 to $17,000 Ethereum, which is pretty crazy. Now, I don't reckon we get that high, but I think we have the potential to hit the 2.618, which is 11,000. I think we definitely hit the 1.618, which is 7,000, which is actually my minimum target for Ethereum. So from where we are today to the first target, that's a 96% move. And to the 2.618, you're looking at about a 2x. Now that's a lot better than Bitcoin's 70%. But the real money right now is going to be in altcoins. And I'm going to show you this. The reason why the real opportunity is in altcoins right now is because the Bitcoin dominance is so high. So for those of you that don't know this chart, when this chart is going up, Bitcoin's outperforming altcoins. And when it's going down, it's when altcoins are actually outperforming. And it's during these moves here where we see Altseason, where your altcoins do 20, 30, 50x returns, which is a lot more than the 70% we're likely to see on Bitcoin. Now, what we can see here is we were actually printing a bearish divergence. And this was when our price was going up, but our RSI was actually putting in lower highs. And this is how we were actually able to call this breakdown of Bitcoin dominance perfectly. And this is a breakdown because we can see that we have pretty much been trading within this channel here. And we can see a very clear breakdown of that channel. So we got that move down. And what we've actually seen is a retest of that resistance, now looking to put in a lower low. So this is a very clear breakdown in my opinion. And what I'm actually expecting in the coming weeks or months is for the dominance to absolutely fall off a cliff and eventually come down to around that 40% level. Now, is it going to come down in a straight line? No, it's going to have corrections on the way. And that's like every chart. But I'm expecting a move very similar to this, where we see extreme volatility to the upside for altcoins, and therefore a drop in the Bitcoin dominance. And this is where the money is made. When this breaks down, this is what we've been waiting 4 years for. This is why we've been accumulating altcoins for the last 4 years for this move down. This move here is where everyone gets rich off of altcoins. And I'm sure as hell we're going to be taking profits. When we get down to these levels down here, I'm going to be selling most of my crypto. Maybe 70 to 80%. I may have a moon bag just in case we set an all new time low for the dominance. But this is realistically your last chance to accumulate altcoins before we really get that big move down where altcoins go 20, 30, 50x in a very short period of time. And another reason I believe that this is going to be the case is when we look at the total free chart. So this is the total market cap of crypto, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this is a good gauge of the strength of the altcoins. Now, what we've been printing is an ascending triangle pattern. Now, when this triangle gets to the apex, it's coming to a decision point. Is it going to break up or is it going to break down? Now, typically with where we are in the 4-year cycle, you would expect the dominance to break up. And what price target would that actually give us? Well, you can get that target by measuring from the high to the low, and it gives us a breakout target. And this would be putting the altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, at $5 trillion. So on average, if this plays out, on average, you should get at least a 5x from your altcoins. But if you pick the winners, if you pick the coins that outperform, you could easily get 10, 20x returns on a lot of your good altcoins. So if I was to buy right now, how would I play these markets? Well, I think we do have potential for a bit more downside before we do get a bounce. But there's also the possibility that what we saw was just a liquidation event, where now all the longs have been liquidated, so now we can push higher. So personally, I'm not buying. I haven't been buying at all since we got that breakout of that range. I don't plan on buying personally unless we get a significant drop. So if I'm honest, you've had the last 3 years to accumulate. You should have been buying then. If you're getting into crypto now, you're late. And you're not going to have as much opportunity as someone like me who's been accumulating at the lows. But that being said, I still believe that the biggest part of the bull run hasn't happened yet, which is why there's still an opportunity to make a lot of money. Probably not life-changing money from here, but you can still make a lot of money. So where would I be looking? Well, on CoinMarketCap, I probably wouldn't be getting into Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think their market caps are just too high. Same goes with even XRP, Solana. You're just not going to get the gains from here. I was accumulating XRP under 50 cents. I've already done a 6x of my money. If XRP goes to $6, that's now a 12x. But if you buy now and it goes to $6, you're only getting a 2x of your money. So where would I start? Well, right now I actually think Cardano is very undervalued at the moment. Went up to $3 last cycle, and I could see Cardano easily getting to $6. I think as well a coin like Chainlink is a very good buy. Chainlink has more utility than almost every other crypto. 90% of cryptocurrencies rely on Chainlink's oracles for their smart contracts. And you can see that Chainlink's moved up a bit from the bottom, but from the lows at around $8, it hasn't gone up that much. Not as much compared to a lot of other coins. Like when we go on the 1 year, it's only up 42% for the year. So I think Chainlink's very undervalued. And I think it's a very safe pick. You're not going to lose money buying Chainlink. And you know as well, even if you have to hold it for another 4-year cycle, it's a coin that I would be comfortable holding because it's not going anywhere. It's going to still be around. But if you want to really start making some X's and get a bit more bang for your buck, you really want to go down and look at some coins with some smaller market caps. One coin I've been a massive fan of is going to be BitTensor Tower. So this coin, it's the leading AI coin right now. So it's known as the Bitcoin of AI because it has a max supply of 21 million, just like Bitcoin, and a halving cycle very similar as well. And you earn TAO by essentially solving problems and providing value to the network. And I honestly think TAO is extremely undervalued at the moment. So market cap's just under 4 billion. I could see it easily reaching a 40 billion market cap this cycle. Easily. And that's a 10x from here. And that would put BitTensor around $4,000. Now, Those are just a couple coins that I'm going to give you today, but if you want to know exactly what coins I hold in my portfolio and the coins that I think are going to get you the best returns this cycle and potentially get you a 20, 30, 50x, well, you can actually purchase my top 10 list. Just click on the link in the bio. And if you'd like some one-on-one coaching with me as well to learn how to trade or how to invest, or if you'd just like me to take a look at your portfolio and give you some feedback where you can improve, just message me on social media or send me an email. But besides that, that's pretty much all I've got for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out, Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out, don't ever rise is deadish.
Bearish positive, 13 times there.
Novogratz is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon.